So when doing a hearing aid check, this is the equipment you need that'll be in your pouch. And then you have the student's equipment. So for a hearing aid check, we're gonna look at the tube and the ear mold, check a battery, we're gonna listen, and then we're going to listen to the transmitter and connect. So when I do the initial check, I wanna look at the tube for both the hearing aid and the focus, and I wanna look at their molds for the hearing aid and the focus. And what I'm looking for are things like excess wax, moisture, and anything that's gonna block air from flowing through the tube into the device. So I'm gonna start with the focus. When I look at this tube, it looks pretty clean and pretty clear. But what you can do is you could take the tube off by twisting the device. Whoop, you won't break it. And using this really thin red sort of floss, I can floss this through this skinny tube and actually make sure that there is nothing that's blocking the air. And also what happens with the skinny tube is it can get pinched off and it actually stops the air from going so that the device won't work. So this actually threads all the way through, and that tells me that there is nothing blocking the tube. I want to keep pulling it out the same way though, because I don't want to push anything back in. This can be cleaned and reused. So I just checked this tube. I don't see any moisture. Looks good. So I just twist that back on. It's threaded. And when I look at the tube for the hearing aid, it's a little thicker. So this won't have a thread, but you'll be able to see, and you're looking for any moisture. If you had any moisture in the tube, what you want to do is this part can be removed. Most of the time you're not going to see anything, but it's good to check. You take this off and you can actually use this. It blows air right in until that moisture dissipates in the tube. And then you can just sort of twist, put this part right on. This is meant to be removed and put back on. We don't remove it from here. So that's how you check that tube. When you're looking at the ear mold, as you can see, we're looking for wax. So there's some wax in here. And we have audio wipes that can be used to clean off the ear mold, and also other any other tools you have. It's good to just sort of use one of these for multiple things. So what I want to do is clean off the ear mold. And then there are other tools like this one. It's sort of a pick that I can get in and try to take out any kind of wax that might be in there. And this is an air vent hole also on the ear mold. It's just another, it sort of vents the, there's a lot of wax in there. So that's disgusting and very important to clean out. So that's why it's important to look and clean out the ear mold. You would do the exact same thing for the hearing aid ear mold as well. And that's looking at the tube and the mold. Okay, next we're gonna check the battery. So each kit should have a battery checker. And when the student's hearing aid or focus battery door is open, the device is turned off. So in order to turn the device on, they close the battery door. So both the focus and the hearing aid have batteries that are different sizes, and those are labeled, and they won't work, or the other won't fit in the wrong device. So what you do is you take the battery, you put it on the checker, and you push it against the metal piece that's in the that's on the battery check, and you hold it there for a while because you want to see and make sure that that line stays solid and doesn't drop below the 100%. It should be between 100% and 80% line. If you hold it there long enough, it seems like it drops pretty well. Really, your best test for if a battery is working is if the device is working. If the device is not working, change the battery. So then when you're done checking the battery, you close the battery doors, and that activates the device so that you can do your sound check. So the last part is really to do a listening check to make sure that the device is working. So for the hearing aid, you're going to, the student's battery door is going to close, and then the boot or the receiver is going to attach onto the bottom. This hearing aid doesn't fit on here, but the receiver will be attached to the bottom. So then you close the battery door, and you should be able to hear the device turn on. So I'm hearing a whining noise. I'm going to use my Stethosset. Whoa, put that down. I'm going to use my Stethosset, making sure that the smiley face is on the outside, and I put it in my ears nice and tight. And then I'm going to put the ear mold, set the ear mold right into the bottom of the Stethosset, just like the student would be putting it in their ear. And then I'm going to give a nice solid seal, but I'm not going to pinch too tight that it's going to pinch off the sound. And now I can hear, because it's the hearing aid and the microphone is on the outside of the hearing aid, I can hear myself talk. So I'm able to hear the sounds that I'm saying, to hear if there's any crackling, any distortions or weakness or static or any intermittency. I'm able to hear that just by me talking. Then I'm also going to do, it's called a Ling sound test, and it listens for a series of sounds that you'll have written down on the hearing aid pouch of materials. The sounds are ooh, ah, ee, sh, s, and doing those sounds, you'll be able to hear, again, you're listening for distortion, weakness, static, or any intermittency that you might have. So doing a listening check on the Roger Focus is a little bit different, but same concept. So you close the battery door to turn the device on, and then you're going to put the ear mold or the smaller ear mold into the end of your Stethosset. You're not going to hear anything until it's connected to the transmitter. So what you want to do is wake up the transmitter, take it off of mute, and then you want to put the device right on top of it and click connect. Now I hear a little tone that indicates that the connection has happened. I also see that on the transmitter. So now when I hold this, I can hear myself talking because the sound is being picked up by the transmitter. I also can rub my fingers on the three tiny microphones that are here on the transmitter to hear the static that I get. I can hear that being picked up through the Focus. In a noisy classroom, though, this is going to be challenging. So you're going to want to get your teacher to put this on and just say something to you to make sure that it sounds, again, that it sounds clear, that you're not having any distortion or static or intermittency. You can also have the student wear it and say something to you as well. So the last most important piece is giving the equipment to the students and making sure that they're connected. So you have your Roger Focus is connected. Just double check that again. I put the Focus right on, connect. Roger Focus is connected. And now I'm also going to make sure that my hearing aid is connected for students who are hearing aid users and they have this as the receiver, their boot. So I would put this right next to the device and I would click connect. This isn't going to connect because it's not on. So once the student has their equipment, you're going to take the transmitter and put it on. You could also hold it up to your mouth, and you're going to cinch it up so that it's about 6 inches from your mouth. And not facing the students, you're going to turn around and give them a message that they have to respond to. Not a yes or no question, but something like, put your finger on your nose, or show me 3 fingers. You might even ask a question, if they're close enough to answer, what color shoes am I wearing, or something like that. Something where they have to listen and respond so that you know that they're connected. So some students and their hearing aid kits have just sort of a check sheet that brings you along to remind about the different parts of doing a hearing aid check, and then to note the device in their right ear, the device in their left ear. How does it look? How is the battery? And how is the sound quality? And then that we did a DM check, which is using the transmitter, like we just showed. And really all it needs is a check mark. And if you have, say, a dead battery, you might just indicate that you had to change on that day. And this allows us to see any trends in one piece of equipment or in a student's use in terms of opening the door at night and that kind of thing in order to preserve the battery. But this is just a good check-in for us to be able to talk about as well with the team. So once everything is done, you put all of your check equipment back into the folder. And if you ever need more cleaning pads or more batteries, these notes are in here too to just slide into mine or Shelley's box. And so that's how we reviewed how to do a full hearing aid check by looking, checking the device, listening and connecting, and then documenting.